good evening, depending on where you're watching this from or at what time you're watching this. Welcome to the Wholesome Show. And if you didn't know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I've decided to dedicate this month to talks about mental health, and we're going to start from the bottom.
Now we're here.
No, we're not here yet because we are still at the bottom. We are discussing kids' mental health because that is where it all starts. So today I'm going to be looking at factors that may affect your kids' mental health, or things we do or say to kids that may affect their future relationships with themselves or with others. So be my guest, and this is an episode you want to make sure that you follow till the end. This is kind of a disclaimer. These talks are based on my opinions and what I've read, and sometimes experiences from not my own kids, because I told you earlier I'm not a mother. The first factor is being shouted at frequently. You're an adult. You as an adult, you get shouted at maybe by your boss. And how does that feel? Bad, right? And I want to imagine that that's the same way your kid feels when you shout at them frequently without any sometimes they don't understand why. For example, you might come home and find your kid painting or drawing, and she has made a mess, and immediately your anger rises, and you immediately take the anger on them and you shout at them, "What are you doing? Why have you created such a mess?" But a kid was only trying to draw "I love you, mommy," but you didn't see the "I love you, mommy." You only saw that the kid has made a mess, and this kid grows up thinking, why am I being shouted at for something I was trying to do right? They don't understand. So control your anger. If you can, postpone it and then cool down, and then come now and talk that out with the kid. The second factor I want to look at is using abusive words, kama venye wengine wetu walikuwa naambiwa wewe ni mjinga kama mamako, things like that. It is not cool because they grow up having incorporated that in their minds. They grow up thinking those are real things, and that's why unajipata ukiwa mkubwa, there are these things, intrusive thoughts that tell you are not enough, you are foolish, when you kondo. Some of them are abusive words we were told when we were kids. The third factor is words that prevent them from fully expressing themselves. For example, when kids are playing and one of them falls down, you may hear people saying things like, statements like, "Kwa nini unalia na wewe mwanaume? Wanaume waliangi, mtoto mkubwa hivyo analia," things like that make the kid not fully express themselves. So that's why you find that men, when they grow up, they tend to hide their sorrows because they were told men do not cry, and that can really affect their mental health negatively, because we want to have people who are able to express themselves fully so that they don't store up emotions inside. The fourth factor, physical abuse. Well, there's still a debate whether punishing the child with a rod is the most effective way of disciplining them, but I don't know where I stand. But sometimes it's not necessary, especially if you're not going to explain to the kid why they deserve that punishment. So physical abuse, there are people who beat kids up, and it's not only parents, even at school. Unachapa mtoto yani mpaka anashindwa or unamchapa to an extent that they get wounds from what you've from all that beating. It's not cool. I'd suggest okay, sometimes it calls for just you explaining the mistake and making sure the kid understands, because I've said disciplining a kid is a must. You don't want to enable a problematic behavior. Let me give an example. My little cousin, the other day I found out there's an idle phone at home, so she has been using it just for pictures and games. And then I went through the photos and I saw that she had taken photos with my sunglasses, and I was like, who gave you permission to go through my bag and take the sunglasses out? They are medicinal. And I was angry, but the good thing is that I was able to control my anger. Instead of shouting, I just explained to her, why have you taken my sunglasses without my permission? It is very wrong to go into people's bags without their permission. You should have asked. And then maybe something like that, making sure the kid understands for what mistake they are being punished for. The fifth factor is sexual abuse, and this really breaks my heart. You've seen on the news or on the internet, little kids as young as toddlers who can't even walk, being sexually abused. You can imagine how damaging and the traumas that kid will carry throughout their lives. So I'm really sorry if any of us has gone through that. I am really sorry you didn't have to go through that. I hope you find ways to overcome it. And sometimes it happens with like very close relatives. And the reason why this like causes trauma mostly is because, first of all, the act itself is just disgusting to imagine, and then on top of that, this kid tries to like tell the adults, and mnajaribu kufunikia, you don't listen to them. So I'm really sorry for anyone who had to go through that. The other factor is not creating an open environment for them to like do conversations with you. And that's why, for example, how we were raised us at our home, everyone has their problems and deals with them. And you'll find that I have carried that behavior, in that even in my relationships, I tend to, when I'm faced with a problem, I tend to like seclude myself and say I need space, I need to figure this thing out, because I believe I didn't grow up in a space where I was encouraged to talk about the things that were disturbing me. So I had to deal with a lot of things on my own, and that led to me, even in my relationships, to like say, I need some space, I need to think about this, I need to fix this on my own, because I'm not used to like opening up to people. The other factor is absentee parents, and I say this with so much passion. The parent might either have had passed on, which I'm sorry, but the absentee type of parent I want to talk about is parents who abandon their children. And it's unfortunate that most times it's the fathers, and you hear absentee fathers. I have like 2 gentlemen who have like opened up to me about the experience with that, and they told me that when they were growing up, they really tried to bond with their fathers. They really tried to look for them, to just make their fathers see them, and they grew up feeling neglected and rejected, and they didn't understand why, and that kind of messed up something in them, and it's sad. So if, for example, you are a kid that was raised by a parent who decided they don't want to be with you, first of all, I want to know it is not your fault. They are the adults, they chose that themselves. It's about them, it's not about you. Second, you can choose to not be that type of person when you grow up. When you get a kid, even if you don't want to like marry the mother, at least try to be there for the child. And women, I know some women are problematic, and sometimes we also have a hand in this. Sometimes you have heard women who say, mi hata sitaki mwanamume, nataka tu mtoto. But this kid will grow up without a father, and it will mess them up. And also women who make it difficult for men who are willing to spend time with their child. Please, let's change that, because that is how we like create a generation of people with mental health issues, things we can avoid. So thank you for listening to this episode. As we continue, I'll go on giving tips on how we as adults can regulate ourselves so that we can be there, not perfectly, but just kindly to our kids. Hope this episode was educative. Please share and subscribe. I love you. I'm sorry my comments are turned off for some reason. I'm trying to figure that out.